Good morning, everyone. It's a fine day. My name is Dean Brouder. I'm the Drug and Alcohol Coordinator for Methuen Public Schools, and welcome to Let's Talk. Each episode, what we're trying to do this year is focus on children like yours, like mine, who have come to Methuen High, had certain experiences, some very positive, some not so positive, and what are they doing now with their lives? And some people have had very successful lives from day one. Some people struggled a little bit. In my personal case, I definitely struggled during my high school years, and it wasn't until later in my life did the direction change. So today's interview, and I'd like to introduce him today, is Dave DiFrancesco. Welcome, David.
Thank you.
To our show, and
Thank
welcome
you.
for getting up so early.
Yeah,
I know
no
it's
problem.
not that easy to get up and come in and talk a little bit about that transition, because I have found not only were you a former student of mine, and we'll discuss your high school experience, but the fact that out of all the people that I know in the Merrimack Valley, you're probably one of the few of the youngest men that I've encountered and asked for help when it comes to substances, when it comes to helping younger people look at their lives, look at the direction in which they're going, and then make those necessary changes, because they're not easy. So why don't you just give us a basic introduction to who you are, influences in your life, and you went to the CGS during grammar school,
Yeah.
7th grade, 8th grade. You come up to the high school, we're still, we have an open classroom concept.
Mhm.
Things are exploded. It's just a totally different atmosphere.
Yeah.
And I asked you, was there one specific teacher that said, "Hey, David, get over here. I think you should look at what you're doing on the outside because it's affecting what you're doing inside"? And you said, "No, that really wasn't the case. I had good teachers, but it was the group of guys that I started to run with." Can you talk about that, making a decision when you're a young man?
Young man coming into high school. What I know today, I was kind of full of fear. You just kind of wanted to fit in with the rest of the crowd. You want to be liked. You want to be part of the cool kids, quote unquote. And the kids I was running with, we were very involved with sports early on. Played a lot of hockey. But these kids, they started to, it was cool to maybe go to a party on the weekend, and I was always curious, about drinking or drugging, what they were doing. And I felt like I wouldn't be liked if I didn't do it, so I would test the waters, I would say, and and I started from there, and I liked what I found early on,
I think it may not be popular to say, but I think that's the seduction of substances. Initially, when you have that first drink, that people are saying, "Oh my God, if you drink," first of all, it's illegal. We have to make that clear.
Yeah.
But there's something that happens.
Yeah.
And when I have my kids referred to me, and they said, my first experience with marijuana was really, I had a positive experience from
Yeah.
it. It relaxed me. It made me feel comfortable, and I didn't feel like I was I wanted to do heroin. I felt very comfortable initially with using. So initially, you're with these guys, you're playing hockey, you're going to school, you're listening to a loud teacher in English blast away, and you start to party a little bit.
Yeah, I was a real quiet kid. I was always shy. And when I started partying, I noticed it got me out of myself, and I could be more sociable, interact with people better early on.
The switch comes on.
Yeah,
All of a sudden, David's as big and strong as Mr. Brouder is now, and
Yeah.
you were a little bit taller, and the girls were more attractive to you.
Absolutely,
and so initially, the response is positive.
early on. Yeah.
Early on.
Yeah.
How long does that last? How long did that last for you, Dave?
For me, it lasted. I was I probably started using when I was 13, 14, 18, 19.
18 or 19.
Yeah.
So there's a brief period of time where you probably, is it safe to say that you might have gotten sick once and at home and you told your mother you ate a bad Italian sub or
Yeah, bad Chinese food. Was usually
bad
the
Chinese
excuse.
food, or was there ever a time where you got sick and you said, I'm never gonna do this again?
Yeah. Every time I got sick, I would say that.
Okay, so every time you got sick, you said, I'm swearing off alcohol, I'm not gonna do that. A lot of kids tell me that they don't drink alcohol for that very reason, that they don't experience that the next day after smoking marijuana. So you're at this point where you're saying you don't like it, but you're still doing it. How did it affect you as a student?
It affected me. Looking back today, we used to skip school. We would go outside, back in the woods. We'd smoke weed, come back. I think I actually was in your class a couple times, high as a kite.
And I caught you every time.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And you would throw a paperclip at me, and I'm like, does this guy know I'm high right now? And I'd get paranoid, you know. But early on, I could take it or leave it. It wasn't like affecting me too much. But I think around my junior year of high school, I got involved with a lot of harder drugs, like ecstasy.
Okay.
And I could, that's all I would think about is the next time when I'm gonna do it.
And again, what's the experience like the first time? Is it on paper? Was it a pill?
That was a couple pills.
It was a couple pills,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, what happened to you when you took this drug called ecstasy?
I felt like I was God. You know, I felt like there was nothing that could stop me. Sociable, telling everybody I love them, stuff like that.
The love drug.
The love drug, yeah.
The love drug, DMT, I think was the initial for it. And it's found its way more so to the college scene, I think, but
Yeah.
it's definitely been used at the high school level. So now we go from this shy little kid that's kind of, doing hockey, doing his own thing, he drank a few beers. Now all of a sudden he's gone into, gone from smoking weed. And was there ever a time where that was it? That's the line, David. And David DiFrancesco is not going to ever pass that line and do anything other than smoke weed. Was that ever made in your mind?
There was actually a line that I was never going to do drugs, period.
Okay.
And my father would try to beat it into my head to stay away from that stuff. But for some reason, I just wanted to fit in. I crossed that line. Oh, this wasn't so bad. Weed wasn't so bad. Let me try alcohol. Okay, alcohol wasn't so bad. I get a little sick. I'm not too fond of it. And then ecstasy came along. All you have to do is wash it down quick and easy, 2 pills, go to the club.
Start dancing.
Time of your life.
Drinking water.
Yeah.
And then what happened with that?
And then after that, honestly, I quit sports. All I could think about was when the next party was, when was the next club day.
Were you changing at all in retrospect now that you're a mature adult, like at home in your relationship? Were you snappier at home? Were you, or did you play a role? Was your personality changing when you weren't high? You were either thinking of it, or you were under the influence and everything was good. Did you have that personality change at all?
Absolutely, yeah.
You were irritable, restless, and discontent with when you weren't?
Not so much when I was in high school, but towards the later, like 18, 19, I would get like that. But I noticed I would get more distant from my family. I really wouldn't talk to anyone that didn't do drinking and drugging.
So you avoided people now. You go from moving the line,
Yeah.
I'm never going to use drugs, to using this drug, then this drug, then this drug.
Yeah.
I'm eliminating the people who aren't doing drugs or aren't into what I'm into.
Right.
My personality's changed.
Absolutely, yeah.
Was there any goal, David, that you that you either gave up for a while or that you lost because of the direction or because of the decisions you were making?
Yeah,
Looking
cool.
back.
Education. Stopped really caring in school. I didn't care. I quit playing hockey because I wanted to party more.
School, sports.
You know, family I got distant from.
Distance
I
from
was
family.
real secretive because I didn't want them knowing I was using.
Lying and cheating.
Yeah, stealing.
Scheming,
Yeah.
stealing. So you basically like turned into this person that wasn't the little boy that at one time was this cute little kid that wanted to just be a good little boy and play like Bobby Orr maybe.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah, maybe go somewhere with
Yeah.
college.
Yeah.
If you told me that I was gonna have an issue with drugs when I was in middle school, I'd say no way. Was not gonna be there.
Anyone else but you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to it. I know there's never one day, or for some there are, that moment when all of a sudden, or that time in your life when David says, nope, I'm going to change the way I live my life and who I play with and what I play with.
There was a lot of events that made me make that decision. After high school, I got involved with cocaine and the benzos, Xanax, Klonopin, all that stuff.
Tell us right now all you know about benzos, about the side effects of the Xanax, any of that personal information that you could go on, because for some, a very small group, those have become very, very popular. Let's make it clear to the Methuen community that 99, I don't know whether the stats are, our youth survey will say, don't use substances, aren't using substances, are doing the next right thing, are involved in a lot of good. But there is a group, no doubt, that are fixated now with this type of substance. What were some of the physical attributes, effects or side effects of using those type of drugs?
The reason I use those, it would quiet my mind down. I would just get real low and not a care in the world, and I thought I could go through the day, you know. But if you start mixing that with alcohol, or if you take too many of those, like a handful of them, next thing you know, like me, I woke up in the middle of the street in my car. I actually just hit a wall. The front tire ripped off. It was down the other end of the road, and I kept driving. And I woke up to a buddy of mine that I haven't seen in years going, "Are you all right?"
So you went into like a blackout.
Yeah, complete blackout.
Did it stop you from using again?
No.
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 Had you ever had to go to the hospital because of a reaction to those substances?
Not by choice.
Not by choice.
No, by choice.
Oh, by choice.
By choice, I had to
You had
detox off.
okay
Yeah.
to detox. And what happened there? Can you? You don't have to if you don't want.
Oh no! I mean, it wasn't anything.
Yeah.
It wasn't. At that point, it wasn't just Xanax. It was mixing everything together. So you'd go in the hospital for a while. They hydrate you. And then they
So
send
you go to the hospital, they hydrate you, and send you on your merry way.
Yeah.
Do you feel, and I want you to be honest, because you said, I don't know if Mr. B knew whether or not I was using, and we're talking almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But do you think the school was equipped to handle the group of kids that were using the substances back in your day?
No, it was a lot different back in the day. It seemed like there wasn't that many people using back in the day, but there really was, and it just wasn't like today. There wasn't. Now today you got the social media, this and that, and you're more aware of it today, and people are looking at it more like an epidemic.
All right. How did you think the hospitals handled the situation?
Like you're just
they
another.
just went through a
like
process?
yeah, like you're just a number.
A number.
You go in. All right, let's get him cleaned up, send him on his way. If anyone makes that choice, you can go to detox. But
Okay. And then you have to keep calling this number every day.
Yeah.
And maybe you get in.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, at this age, now you're how old? 18, 19, 20?
18, 19, 20, yeah.
Do you decide, when is it now that I make the massive shift? I'm not going to the hospital again. I'm not doing the benzos anymore. What was it like? Were you sick? Like, was it being dope sick? Did it have any of that, or were you just constantly uncomfortable, or constantly thinking people were after you, or
Absolutely.
paranoia? What was?
I did so much coke, I thought people were following me.
Okay.
I was paranoid. My conscience started getting to me for some reason. That's probably because of my parents. I wouldn't come home for days, and their parents would be out looking for me and stuff like that. And they would, I guess you'd say, love me unconditionally and tell me I have a problem. I remember the first time I went to my mother. I was like 19 years old, and I told her I had a problem with cocaine. I just didn't want to do it anymore. I couldn't understand why I would wake up, say I'm not going to do it today, and all of a sudden 5 hours later I'd be high as a kite. And I got introduced to a recovery program that you would go to at nighttime.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember driving up there to meet the counselor, and that was my first introduction to recovery.
And so that goes back,
Yeah.
and so we're talking many years now that you've been in the recovery community.
Yeah.
You like, they say doctors, I don't know if you save anyone's life when you work with them in the recovery community, but you certainly have a strong effect on them. And I can remember calling you many times
Yeah.
for younger people saying,
Yeah.
hey, David, can you take this kid to a meeting, or can you talk to him? And you never said no.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
And even with my own son, who did make it,
Yeah.
even with Matthew, I mean, you didn't just
Fortunately.
try once, you tried more than once.
Yeah.
And it's very painful, because I'm
Yeah.
sure Matthew's not the only friend that you had, or someone that you saw that had potential to stay clean and to help others lose their way.
Yeah. It was unfortunate, man.
Yeah.
He used to make me laugh. He was a good dude.
Yeah. And he's broken our hearts, and I'll never be the same man,
No.
and that's my boy. But I had you on this show because, number one, to make it clear to young people, if they happen to be watching the show,
Yeah.
or forced to, because you might be part of, we have a re-entry process where we make them watch certain videos.
Good, yeah.
To educate them, or to give them just, here's someone's experience. You can do what you want with it, but it might open up a door for you. That number one, you can get clean
Yeah.
when you're really young, relatively young. You don't have to wait
No.
until it's too late. Like, it's too late for my son. I can never talk to him again. I can't have this conversation I'm having with you.
Right.
And done is done.
Yeah.
And yet we had the progression explained perfectly to the group. You explained to the audience what progression's like. That little boy who said, I'm never gonna do drugs, not only went from alcohol to marijuana, but then started doing the E, and then started doing the Xanax and all of the diazepams and then the cocaina.
Yeah.
And maybe I think you stopped right before the explosion of the OxyContin.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
And if you hadn't stopped, then you might be
Absolutely.
statistic.
I'd be right there.
You might be
Yeah.
right there. When you get clean and sober, life sucks. You're miserable. There's no fun. You can never get another girlfriend. You can't go dancing. You can't go into the city. You can't have a good meal. You sit around. You smoke cigarettes with old people, drink coffee, and talk about how life sucks.
Absolutely not.
What do you do?
The biggest thing for me was, before I got sober, was I'm too young to get sober. I thought someone that had to get sober was the guy that was sleeping in the ATM booth that hasn't showered in months, But, I made that choice. I know I didn't want to use or drink anymore. And I joined the sober community. And there was another young dude there that stuck his hand out to me, and he showed me a way that you can live without drugs and alcohol. I had to make all new friends, which was probably one of the hard part. I mean, I grew up, the kids that I used with, it was like from grade 5 to 20 years old.
Sure.
We were all together all the time. We're like brothers, But
And that, it didn't make them bad people.
no, it was
At
just,
all. Just going in another direction.
yeah, and you had to make that choice. It was either live and get sober or hang and die.
Hang and die.
Yeah, because I was knocking on death's doorstep. But I remember just thinking like, wow, my life is over. You know, I can't drink or drug anymore. What am I gonna do with myself? And I had no clue there was another way of living. And like I said, this kid showed me the way. You know, we started hanging out. We started hanging out with sober people. He introduced me to a lot of people. Now we're going out. We're going dancing. We're laughing. We're just having the time of our lives. You know, we're always going on. We were going on trips. You know, we're just doing things sober. And I wasn't thinking about drugs or alcohol.
And then all the possibilities, like all the money that you either stole or wasted or blew up your nose or
Absolutely, yeah.
that you know, that's more money in your wallet. 'Cause
Yeah.
all these kids, they like nice shoes, although you'll never catch up to them. 80 pair. You can have fun. You can have a ton of fun, and you don't wake up with a headache.
Right.
You don't break your parents' heart.
That's right.
What were the dynamics at the end with your parents? Were they afraid of you at all?
They were more disgusted. My mother used to tell me, I want my son back. And that was like one of the key things that like made me look at myself, and she would say something like that. And then my father would call me my junkie son. You know, I don't want my father calling me that. You know, it kind of hit home. My brother wouldn't even talk to me. You know, they were just disgusted.
So the whole family, when there's a drug user in the family, the family just is all messed up.
Yeah. And you think you're only
Hurting yourself.
yeah. But because you're just caught up in the midst of it, and you're delusional, and you don't realize what you're doing to other people that love you. You know.
Well, you know, David, yours is a story of thousands, hundreds of thousands. There are hundreds of thousands of young people, and even though you're just getting up there now, man. I
33.
I think I see one white, no, I don't think so, not yet, but it's coming. You know, you've been sober a long time,
Yeah.
and you've helped a lot of people,
Thanks.
you know, and if there were, you know, and there are plenty, but the age difference keeps, the gap every day keeps moving, that we need more people like yourselves that reach out to younger people, because they look at me and go, whoa, Gramps, I love you, you're a good guy, but, you know, I don't want to go out dancing with you.
Yeah.
But
I go dancing
so
with
if you had anything to say to younger people, I mean, just don't start. Don't do it the first time. I mean, it's really hard.
It's tough. You know, they're going to make that choice. I know when I was younger, you couldn't tell me anything.
Right.
I knew it all.
Yep.
And now today I know nothing.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like you have that ego, and no one can tell you anything, and you're going to do what you're going to do. And it sucks to say, like, sometimes I find out the hard way. But because I had no clue I was an addict and alcoholic. If I was, I think if my family had any knowledge or any type of education on it, like, they'd be able to point it out.
Yeah.
You know, like if
They
one
had
day,
more.
Yeah.
Yeah, parents have more education now, but many of them have issues themselves.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's really it's a difficult situation. Well, we could go on and on and on, and maybe you'll come back someday, or maybe you'll come in and talk to a couple of my
Absolutely,
my favorite students that I love to death, but
Anytime.
you can't
Love
seem to
to.
be knocking on the door. Thank you so much for coming in today,
Yeah, no
coming
problem.
back to
Thank you.
your old
Stomping grounds.
grounds. And when I tell you, people, there are, and I'm not blowing smoke this morning, this young man has helped more people find a new way of life. I don't know of anyone in his age bracket, and he's been at this for a long time, has helped more people than this young man here today. So he's a product of Methuen Public Schools. He went a certain way. He found someone reached down his hand and helped him help someone else, and that's how this whole thing works. So if you think everyone is using drugs, you're wrong. If you think no one is using drugs, you're wrong. If you think you have to be old and gray and senile like Mr. Brouder to get sober, you're wrong. You can have a full life, you can party, you can enjoy yourself, you can have a girlfriend that you can be trustworthy with, you can be the the son or daughter that you always wanted to be, or the father or the wife, the mother that you've always wanted to be. There's a whole life out there without substances, and we're knocking on the door. And we're not going to stop knocking on this door until you people, and we need you, the Methuen community, we need you, the parents, to not be ashamed, to come forward. 978-273-4812. It's not all about talk. Mr. Brouder is not the only one involved in trying to help your children stay safe. But we need more help. And so thank you again, David, for coming on our show. And I expect to see you around pretty soon. Thank you very much. And thank you. Our next individual will be after the year. Mr. Sheen, I'm driving him crazy. I believe it's going to be Mr. Geary from Special Ed. If they use that term, I hope I didn't use the wrong term. But Kevin Geary and I used to work a little bit together when I was still teaching, and now he's in charge of all of the special ed programs that we provide here at Methuen High School for our children. And know one thing, people, the 5 of you who may be watching this show, that we're not going to stop trying to help, to inform, to listen, and we need your help. This isn't a one-way street, and if you think it couldn't be happening to your kid, please don't, please. You never want to join the club that I belong to. You never want to lose a child. So when I'm pointing on one finger around at you, I got 3 more pointing back at me. Thank you very much for sharing your time with me today, and hopefully we bring you some informed individuals in here who dedicate, who do not get paid. Nothing's planned out. Everything is hit from the heart, and it's for you, the Methuen community. Thank you very much.